Hello, 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 my friends. Happy Monday. And here we are, energizing to rise and setting your priorities for the week. I'm Kristen Brown. And if this is your first time joining me, thanks for being here. It is so much fun to give you your 10-minute weekly action plan for results, where you just really quickly identify one thing you want to get done this week that would feel so good to get done by Friday. And then I give you an energy hack from my 7 Energies flow formula. So here we are. So thanks for being here. If you've joined me before, you know that every week we tap into your energies and help you make things happen. This week, we're going to be talking about motivation energy for your energy hack, and we're pulling that from my 7 Energies flow formula. For those of you that are new here, every week I just give you a quick review of what the flow formula is. So there it is, the flow formula. It starts with vision energy. And vision energy is that ability to see what you want in the future, whether it's by the end of today or 50 years from now. You need that vision energy to be clear so that you can really take the right actions, make the right decisions, choose the right jobs, hang out with the right people in order to make the path to that vision the way that you want it to be. Then we have strategy energy, and that is the plan to make the vision real. That plan is the people, the resources, the tools, really anything that will help you to make your vision come to life. So that's going to be anything personal or professional, because this applies to anything that you might be doing career-wise in the workplace or anything that you are doing for your personal goals as well. Then once you have your vision and your strategy energy clear, we go to communication energy, and that's ensuring that you're communicating to the world what it is that you want, that vision and that strategy, so that people can come alongside you, help you out, and you can reciprocate that energy by helping them with theirs, with their vision and strategy as well. Once you have communication energy turned on, then it's ensuring that you have the right relationships, the people that can help you make your goals real. And you need different people for different goals. You need different people for a personal health goal than you would for getting a new job or a promotion at work. So you want to be sure that you're really always flexible in that relationship, the relationships that you're forming, and also ensuring that you have really strong boundaries around the energy vampires. So if you've seen me speak on stage, we talk about them at length, but an energy vampire is someone that drains energy, someone who always has to have attention on them, people that are always stirring up drama, and they exist in your families, your workplaces, they're all around us. So we need those boundaries. So when you are attacked by or drained by an energy vampire, it doesn't keep you down and you can get back on the right track. Once you have your relationship energy clear, then confidence energy comes into play. And confidence energy is really being able to use your superpowers, those things that you know you're so good at. Because when you're using your gifts, things become so much more magical, so much more powerful. You're going to magnetize the right people and opportunities to you. Things are going to feel easier and more fun when you're using your gifts. So we want to be sure your confidence energy is always turned on and turned up. And then creativity energy is having fun in the process. Being an adult that's a drag sometimes. It's hard work. It's a lot of work and a lot of things that we have to juggle. So you need to have a release valve for that. And that's where creativity energy comes in. It's the fun stuff, the passions, the hobbies, thinking out of the box, trying new approaches, anything that really just brings that little spark to any project or thing that you're working on. Then we have motivation energy, and that is where the rubber meets the road. That's where you have to kick yourself in your own butt. That's where you're saying, okay, all of my intentions for my vision, my strategy, all the things, I know what it is that I want, and I'm creating the flow, but now it's time to actually do it, take the actions. And that can be hard sometimes. Personally, this is the one that I struggle with most, and we'll talk about that in a minute when we get into that energy hack. So that is the flow formula. That is what we tap into every week. But we always want to first identify what your priority is. Last week, we talked about your priority and used creativity energy to help drive it forward. So if you were with me last week, think back. Did you do what you committed to doing? Did you accomplish that number one priority? If you didn't, why not? What popped up to get in your way? Because we want to start to notice the patterns in your life, your habits. What are those things that are holding you back from taking the actions and creating the momentum that you want? That is when you're really going to start to notice that you're able to take quicker action. Things are happening more effectively. You're making better decisions. So really thinking back on the times where you get stuck and the things that are causing you to get stuck is really, really important. So reviewing last week, did you build some creativity and did you get the number one thing done? If you weren't with me last week, you can go rewatch all of them. They're all there for you. They all have energy hacks. We'll have them every single week, but you can go watch that library of them just on my feed. But we always want to review last week because that will help you then say, okay, this week, then what do I need to adjust? Do I need to have the same priority as last week carried over to this week? You know how I feel about carryover items if you've seen me speak, but carryover items, you have to get those off the list because they cause huge halo effects of negativity and micro stressors that we really want to be sure that you are getting a handle on, because those are the things that are going to pull your focus from that one priority that you have. And again, one priority doesn't mean you're not going to have to-do lists and all kinds of other things to do, but it's that one thing that you know would make a huge difference in the way you feel, in the progress that you're making on a specific goal that you have. So really get clear on how can you focus in on what is going to move the needle the most for you, not just overall, but this week. So I want you to think about that right now. This week, what would you love to get done by Friday? What is one thing that you know would absolutely give you such a feeling of power and pride that you got this thing done? Maybe it's something that you have been carrying over. Maybe it's something that popped up recently. Maybe it's something that ties to a longer term goal. But identify that for yourself right now. What is your number one priority for this week? I want you to write it down, because knowing is different than committing, which is different than doing. And I talk about that on stage all the time, that knowing is different than doing. We always want to take the next step from awareness to action. So awareness, write it down in multiple places, have it somewhere where you're going to see it regularly, pin it on the refrigerator next to your computer, in your car. And that is when your brain, your reticular activating system, is going to start to scan your environment, looking for opportunities to make that priority, that goal, that thing real. So you're helping yourself biologically, physically, emotionally by putting visually what your priority is for the week somewhere where you can see it. Now, once you have it, now the goal is to start taking action on it this week. And so every week I give you an energy hack. Now, there are thousands of energy hacks from all different types of tips and energies and emotions and things that we do and can use to kind of hack our own minds, bodies, and spirits in order to take action. This week, we're focusing on motivation energy. Motivation energy happens to be my biggest opportunity for growth. Let's just say it that way, because I am a procrastinator to the max. I always have been. I do things at the last minute, and there's really no good excuse for it, except I have a lot of stuff that I juggle. I don't glorify busy. I don't like to say, oh, I'm so busy, because I hate that. We have a choice of how we fill our time. But being a solo parent, I was widowed. If you don't know my backstory, I was widowed 17 years ago, and it's been me and my daughter ever since. She was 10 months old, so she's a senior in high school now. And being a solo parent is no joke. I mean, literally every day, I'm scheduling something. I'm paying some sort of bill. I'm doing something. I'm returning some sort of email that's unrelated to my business or even me. It's kid stuff. And I know all parents do that. So I'm not saying that other parents are busy or mental, but solo parenting is a different kind of heightened to-do lists, because you're the only one, and it doesn't ever end. You don't have someone to fall back on. You don't have someone to share the tasks or share the responsibilities. You have to get this stuff done. And right now, senior year, my gosh, we're in the thick of college applications and financial aid stuff and all the stuff. So I'm like double, I don't want to call it stress, because I'm not stressed about it. I'm excited about all of it, but it's just a lot. And frankly, I'll be honest, I'm super burnt out right now. But I take care of myself. I've always been really good at self-care. I've always been really good at taking breaks, taking time for myself. But right now, I'm definitely at the height of peak burnout. So I'm working really hard at saying, how can I maintain my motivation energy when I'm feeling some of those emotions and those feelings and those dynamics that naturally come along with the rides that we take through our lives. So this week I want to share an energy hack. If you see me speak, you've maybe heard me talk about this one on stage. I use a few different stage tips when I do these energy hacks for all 7 of the energies. But this one is identifying your big butts. Now, your big butts are those things that you might be thinking, oh yeah, I've got this plan. I really want to do it, but I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the skill set. I don't have the support, whatever it happens to be. we have big buts that pop up into our thinking that mess up our trajectory, that cut us off at the knees before we've even begun. So we want to be sure that you're aware of your big buts, because once you have that awareness, that is when you can start to take action on them. It doesn't mean you'll solve them overnight, but it means that you can start to notice when they're happening, start experimenting, plan A, plan B, all the way to plan quadruple Z if you need to. You've heard me talk about that on stage too. So I want you to think about some of your big buts. And while you're thinking about what your big butt is, or butts, if it's multiple, one of mine is email. I've talked about that on here before. Email paralyzes me into non-action because it overwhelms me. There's so many, it's more to-dos. It's like you have a to-do list already, and then email pops up, and there's another to-do, and another to-do, and another to-do, and it's absolutely paralyzing for me. So I've had to really experiment with my big butt of email over the years. And at the beginning of this year, I actually put it on my vision board this year to figure out how to navigate email. And I'm on about plan X, maybe. I've tried a whole bunch of things this year, and I'm getting better. It's not perfect yet, but I'm starting to get a handle on my emails so that they don't paralyze me from taking any action at all during the day. So for you, what's your big butt? Identify that. Then I want you to think about one small step that you could take, your plan A, the first thing you're going to try to tackle that big butt. Like for me, for email, the first thing I tried was Fridays having a 30-minute calendar meeting every single Friday where I could just clear out my email inbox. Plan B was unsubscribing when things come through rather than just deleting. So I tried all kinds of little things, and over time, you're going to find the things that'll work for you. So identify your small step for this week to turn on your motivation that will help you have more time, more bandwidth to focus on your one priority this week that you want to get done by Friday. Okay. All right. So that is your 10-minute action plan for growth this week. You've got your priority. I've given you a motivation energy hack. If you want to dig deeper and you want to take your 7 energies assessment and see which of your 7 energies are blocked, neutral, or flowing, my block is usually motivation energy, as I've discussed, but you can take that at my website, KristenBrownPresents.com. And then all through November, I've got a little bit slower month, which I cannot wait for, but I'm going to do a 4-part webinar series to help you get really clear on what your big, I call them anchor goals are. I've shown this before, but these are my 4 anchor goals. When I turned 48 in September, you obviously aren't going to be able to read that, but I have 4 anchor goals with some action steps underneath them. And I'm going to help you create this same type of anchor goal and step plan for yourself over the course of November. So watch for later in the week. I'll be posting the opt-in to join those. It's not free. It'll be a 4-part webinar series that you can join and pay to join and have your company join if you'd like to as well. So watch for that later in the week. But we always want to leave with your momentum mantra. Your momentum mantra this week: one step at a time, forward always. Always think about the next small step that you can take so that you're continually moving forward and not getting stuck. That will help keep your motivation energy going forward when you're thinking about your priorities this week, that number 1 priority. What's one step that you can take every day to move it forward? Forward always. One step at a time, forward always. So that is this week's Energize to Rise, your 10-minute action plan for results. We're at 13 minutes, but I told you about the webinar, so I feel like that's a little bit extra time. And I gave you a little bit extra on my my personal story this week and being a little bit burnt out. So anyway, so hopefully you'll join me next week. We'll check in again, but be sure to follow along here. Tomorrow I'll post an article about motivation energy, and that's a little bit deeper. You can go deeper into that if you like, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the motivation mantra on Wednesday or Thursday. So follow along on social media right here on LinkedIn. Follow me on Instagram if you want the fun stuff. If you want to see the food I'm eating and the dog that I'm walking in the woods and other energy hacks that I do personally to keep myself moving forward. And we will see you next week. See you soon.